Let's see what are the insights from the formulation of the Citizen Science Lab that we tried to do through Compare project in Athens. So initially, I will refer to, like also the rest of the presenters, I will first refer to the challenges that we had prior to starting this experiment. We tried from Compare to reach out to citizens in order to start collecting data on air quality. And despite the fact that those environmental issues are actually favorable from the city because they are already in the agenda of the city, in the climate agenda of the city. However, there was this KPI, let's say this target to engage low socioeconomic groups. And also the citizen science approach when we started Compare Lab, it was really new for Athens and very innovative. It was the first time that we were reaching out to citizens to collect the data. So it was something that we are there to create the knowledge, let's say, or the ground. And also the fact that we distribute IoT devices to citizens. This has different kind of technical issues that you have to tackle before you do the experiment as a challenge. On the other side, we know from our contact with end users from other experimentation that they do have concerns, and that we were expecting some concerns regarding the devices, for example, on the power consumption or if they have a lot of radiation. Usually when you volunteer to citizens, they are not always eager to participate, not all of them, or they are, but they do hesitate due to the effectiveness of the devices. There is also the need to start preparing some material that have to do that will back up the lab. And also at the moment we are doing campaigns for the calculation of the CO2 footprint of the different cities. And this you do not do in person, but usually you go online, let's say, if you want to reach to a wide audience. So in order to tackle all these challenges, we try to find solutions. So especially for the IoT sensors, for the air quality sensors, what we did is that we went to the friendship clubs, which is actually a structure of the municipality of Athens, where elderly citizens are there to spend their time and do some activities. So from there, we started. What we did as a methodology is we tackled through the centers a wider audience, because there people from the neighborhood are actually gathered to meet. And also, elderly citizens are considered as low socioeconomic groups for Athens on air quality, since they are highly affected by the poor quality of air. Also, what we did is that we went to 2 different areas of Athens in order to tackle the aspect of locality. It is much difficult to go to the complete city because Athens is a large metropolitan city, and it's not very easy to go everywhere to distribute sensors. So we started with workshops, and that they are already ongoing still, to engage audience and volunteers. We did the demos on the devices, and if devices are quite difficult to be assembled, what we did is that we pre-assembled them, because initially we had a different kind of devices, and then we had some others that they were more easy to use. Of course, we have to be prepared for answers and concerns, and what was proved very successful is that is a live demonstration of the sensor. So when you actually place a sensor close to a person smoking, or a source of smoke like a kitchen, etc., when you actually demonstrate live the functionality, it's much easier to engage the audience. And then you also need to provide different kind of supporting equipment, like rain covers that they were provided to us by our partners, extra plugs or longer cords, etc. So you really need to facilitate the citizens on such an experiment, because even if they are willing to participate, they do not always have all the hardware that it is needed. Let's go to the results. So at the moment, this is still ongoing. We still have to go to one more friendship club, but generally we are close to the end of this experiment. So we went to 2 areas of Athens, named Kipseli and Neos Kosmos, for the audience that they are Greek in this webinar. We did more or less 10 workshops engagements that also included follow-ups and technical support. At the moment, we have 54 end users, volunteers, and 51 of them are actually senior citizens from the clubs, and 3 others that they are not. Usually, in parts of demographics, the majority of them are women, so 44 out of them are women and 10 are men. And out of the devices that we have given up, they are Sotex devices from our partner in the consortium. And initially, in the first round of experiments, we distributed another 9 from the sensors.community. That's a different type of device. But it's very, very important to include also city officials in the beginning of this process. So we also have the city officials with us. Just to share some insight, in the meantime, we changed mayorship, so you really need, in order to do a citizen science lab in a city, you really need to follow up with any change in the personnel. This is part of the process. And even if you change mayorship, you really need to have also the new administration of the city engaged in this process. We have installed 54 sensors and 2 nitrogens that you can see also in the picture in the 2 clubs, 1 in each area and 2 BC meters. We saw that the audience actually is very eager to measure air quality in their neighborhood and to help the city with the citizens. And what was pro for us is that we targeted senior citizens, that they are especially sensitive to anything that has to do with their health. So they know that air quality affects their health. So they were a really very respective audience, let's say. What recommendations we can share for anybody that wants to replicate this maybe experiment? First of all citizen science initiatives include personal contact, actually. It's very difficult to do citizen science without going there in person. And this means that you need to calculate in your effort both the time that you need and the personnel for that. Really need includes engagement visits on site, workshops, and some follow-up sessions. So you have to be prepared to do some effort and work on the field, actually. Also, regarding the locality and maybe the aspect of the different country or city where you want to target, you really should be prepared to answer specific kind of questions. For example, in Greece lately, the cost of life is very high, and especially the cost of electricity. So we knew that we will have questions on how much electricity do these devices consume, or if they do have radiation. And always in all the volunteer related activities, you have to have GDPR issues. So to prepare documents that state the anonymity of the user. And what we did is actually we have a consent circulated for anybody who is volunteering. Especially when you go to senior citizens, that it is our experience, simple language and explanation is always important. I suppose similar experiences my colleagues from other audiences are going to share. And also the devices really need to be easy to use and have intuitive interfaces. So some LEDs, some signals that it is easy for everybody to interpret. So in the Sotex sensors, red means bad air, which is very, very easy to interpret for it, even if you don't know how to measure all the measurements. And finally, for us, it was really important to mention the research dimension, so that this is an activity that is not only happening in Athens, but also in Sofia, in Plovdiv, and in a whole region in Belgium. So this is something that it's an add-on, let's say, in the process. And unless we have any questions, I will give the floor to Jazine from Berlin.